recording. So yeah, we're on.
Okay.
Okay, so I have here with me Jackie Mackay, who's a coach or a consultant for holistic practitioners, and she's going to help us get a little more focused and clear on how to prosper with our massage practice, or even if you're like a nutritionist, something along that line. She'll guide you to prosper and to have a successful business. So, Jackie, welcome.
Thank you.
Um, how did you decide to blend all of your knowledge? Can you like take us back a little bit and tell us where you started with Whistler and your background?
Yeah, so I had taken a business management course in Vancouver, and I was doing some work in Whistler at a pretty major hotel, and I just found myself in the position of waking up every day with an unsettling feeling in my heart, and everything on the outside looked terrific. I was engaged in a lot of sports and activities. I had a relatively great job for where I was at a young age of, I think, like 26 or 27. And but yeah, there I felt like, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I had great friends, but there was just something really unsettling. And I had because of my training, I had actually had an injury, and I found myself in the hands of a massage therapist, of a physiotherapist, of an athletic therapist, and about all the therapies, the massage therapist really made an impact on me. And I thought, wow, this would be so fantastic to actually get paid to do this work. And so I was telling my parents about this, and they said, well, why don't you come out and look into schools in Calgary and just live with us, and if you don't want to incur loans. And so I went to school, and I was sitting in like the front row of the classroom at 29, and there's 18-year-olds behind me, and I was ready to learn. Everything was out, and I didn't look back from there. I ended up graduating, and I did as much education as I could, which was the 2,200-hour program. I did my board exams in Ontario, and then I started teaching for the college. At which point I noticed that a lot of my students were asking me questions about my practice and how I got it up and running. We actually were able to deliver a very small business course at the college, but it was such a small course that didn't cover nearly enough information, that there was a real need out there. And so I was teaching, and alongside of that was helping students, with their business practices. And alongside of that, took a coaching course and found myself in the position of life coaching, but also noticing that my clients who were coming to me were people who were wanting to transition. They also had that pain in their heart or that soul, knowing that they wanted to do some work that was different than just showing up at a 9 to 5 job, if you will. So, yeah, so I landed myself with new clients who wanted to know how I did it. And then they would go through that process of life coaching with me, only then to, leave their work to pursue new education. And then they would come back and often say, now let's get on the business side of things. How do I grow this business if I really want to be doing this? So it's been a really positive, organic experience. And with each step that I took, I never knew where I was going, but I just decided in that moment to go with the step in front of me. And so it just landed me into where I am right now.
So, did you find yourself having any fear come up to leave everything behind, and you just went past all that?
Yeah, the pain in my soul and the discomfort that I felt on a cellular level, could honestly say that I had heart palpitations and anxiety. It was really like there was something bigger speaking to me. I didn't know what it was. And in the beginning, it was really fearful, but, on the other hand, because there's two of us, there's that ego and our higher self. So my ego was very fearful. But when I thought about the idea and the prospect of having an opportunity to have my own business and to be doing massage for the rest of my life and to be helping people, that screamed so much louder to me that felt clear. And so I chose that, because each decision is a choice in the moment. And so I chose that. And of course there was the fear, and there were all those negative voices, but that was probably the start of listening to my higher voice as well.
I think we all come to that stage in our lives. I think
Hmm.
some people go through life with, they're on a path and then that voice comes up and we either listen to it or we don't.
Yes.
And then it's not the 9 to 5 thing for me. Like, I can speak from my own experience. Like, my massage therapy career ended up being a 9 to 5 job. which
Mhm.
is really funny because a lot of people think that they're in a corporate job. They leave the corporate job to become more of a holistic practitioner.
Right,
So
right.
it can also become a 9 to 5 like dull experience if you don't figure out what you're meant to do with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can feel like you're just in a really big fishbowl swimming all over the place. Absolutely.
So I think with me, I don't know about anybody else. I think it's thinking that being a healer, you're not allowed to be like wealthy,
Mhm.
or that you have to or something got in the way, the ego probably. So how do we get past that conflict that we have, about just going for what we want or creating the job that we want to have, not just a job, but it's a big choice to become even like anything holistic.
Yeah.
So how do we make it work for ourselves?
Well, I mean, the first part is to look at whatever those beliefs are, and I don't think this is the first time that anybody's going to hear this, but what are your beliefs around making money? What are your beliefs around making money as a massage therapist? I mean, I have a lot of clients who are like thinking that, $30,000 is what I could make and I could be happy with, or, it's 60, or I mean, really, I mean, the sky is the limit when you're a business owner. You can have means of passive income, you can have means of leveraged income. You just got to figure out what's speaking to you. So the first part is really looking at, I think, your beliefs around how much money you are able to make through this practice. How do you perceive yourself around money? What are your values with money? I do a whole meditation exercise with my clients where I introduce them to money, and they have coffee and tea with money in their home. So it really is, there's a cellular experience that we each have with money. Some people feel extremely abundant and they always have, and most of us probably don't. I had, for me, the longest time that I was put myself in the box of being a hippie. And so, hippies didn't make money, and it wasn't cool to make money. And I
Mm-hmm.
quickly figured out that, wow, is that ever a ridiculous belief system to have? So that is number one. And then the second piece, I think, is really around what you and I spoke to before we even started recording, which is having a grasp of how business works. In school, we're taught our specialty and we're taught to be an expert in massage therapy or whatever holistic therapy, but we're not really taught how to attract clients. We're not taught the basics of, little things like the principle of focusing to completion, the little things like preparing yourself on the inside for being vulnerable in your business for rejection. The piece around finding yourself a nice target market or a niche so that you don't really expect yourself to be everything to everybody, because people actually want to work with experts. We're paying for experts these days. There's things like doing your market research to make sure that there's a real need out there for your services, and so that actually people can afford your services, because people can. You just have to look for the right niche that can actually is willing to pay your services and who sees your services as a real need. So, for example, sports massage therapists, for people who are training for Ironman, for example, there's a niche in itself. And then there's even things like getting really clear on, what makes your practice noticeable? What makes your practice stand out? There's, 500 massage therapy practices all over within the area of where I live in Calgary. And, none of them really look different. They all sort of look the same. So finding out what is going to make you something that stands apart from the rest. And then, getting clear on that marketing message, and being really clear about the clients that you do serve, and making sure that your marketing message is a compelling message that actually speaks to people. There's all these signs out there that say, massage, do you have pain? Massage. Well, most of us are walking around in pain, but that's not a compelling ad, right? So it's understanding how to pull your clients in and speaking in your client's language so that they actually want to raise their hand to work with you. And then there's other things like setting up a website which is compelling, that actually people will land on, and they'll actually, by the time they're finished reading your homepage or your about page, you want those people to be calling you. And if they're not, then there's a problem with your website. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but there's a lot of really important business steps. And these aren't hard to do. They take time to do. They take a commitment. They take clarity. But once you have this set up in your business, it's like a well-oiled machine. And if you have systems in your business, the sky is the limit for the amount of income that you can make and for, the duration of how long you want to have your practice.
And yeah, this is something we don't learn in school, and it's so needed because otherwise you just end up burning yourself out or just being like everyone else and not really having a specialty.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
for example, your specialty can be pregnant, just women, pregnant women, or
Hmm.
pregnancy massage or something like that, right?
Oh, sure. And what I tell my clients is the more narrow your niche, the easier it will be to attract clients. So, for example, I help people in the holistic therapies. If I was narrowed in on simply just massage therapists, it would be easier for me to attract clients. So, a lot of people think that if you go narrow, you will lose the opportunity to help clients. But actually, when you go narrow, there's a lot of people that you can specifically reach, right? We're not trying to reach the whole world either. We're just trying to reach those specific individual people. So go very narrow with your niche.
Uh, Definitely. That way, you're just not a massage therapist for everybody, and you're working with the specific kind of client, something that you're passionate about as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how do you set your day yourself and your intentions for the day?
Yeah, this is a really important piece that takes discipline and focus and commitment to your business. So, a lot of us as therapists start with the idea that I've seen in my own experience: when you have your own business, you can show up, and if there's no clients, then you just wait around for them. And that has not been the most useful practice from my experience. The people who actually do really well with their business are the people who have intention. So, part of that intention in what I teach is to really prepare yourself as a business owner. When you show up like a business owner, people actually treat you like a business owner. So part of my experience with my business is thinking it as a corporate job. You wouldn't show up late for your job, you would show up on time, right? If you need to be at work for 8 and you really love to exercise and you have to get it in, you would get it in the morning. So for me, a typical day might look like first thing at about 5 in the morning, I wake up and I do my meditation. Then I'll head downstairs and get on, my exercise bike or get that fitness in, having my shower, getting clear on what time I wake up my daughter, to when she's dressed, to when she's out the door, to dropping her off, to getting clear on when my first client is, when I check my emails, really scheduling in extremely specifically every activity that you can think of that's important for you to do in your business. Because we know that when we actually write it down, we hold ourselves much more accountable than if it's not written down, or if you're not clear on where you need to be going. It's easy to sleep in, or it's easy to miss things. So it's as important as setting goals. It's just setting a clear schedule for yourself. And that's even clustering the times every week on a consistent basis for when you do things like your marketing activities. So perhaps it's creating your website or doing your blogs, to even your schedule for your business. So if you are working with some clients and you want to be really busy, but you don't want to work into the evenings, schedule yourself from 10 till 4. Let's just say you want those as those hours, and don't book outside of those times. When people ask for an appointment with you, really let them know, okay, I've got Wednesday and Tuesday between 10 and 4. I can get you in at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Give them two choices, and that's it. I see a lot of my clients who really think that they have to work evenings and they have to work late afternoons on weekends, and that's just not true. You create your schedule, and then it's amazing how the universe loves to fill up empty spaces. Trust me, the universe will fill up those spaces. So it may as well be with how you want it to be filled up.
And you don't have to like burn or like work too long or burn yourself out in the process.
Absolutely. And then you actually stay committed to getting those marketing activities in, those business building activities in, which are really not sexy. They're not a lot of fun. But when you keep doing this on a consistent, regular basis and you look back, it is amazing to see how your practice will grow and how inspired you'll become as a result because of all of the accomplishments that you've done and you've made.
And should we have goals then too of where you want to be 6 months from now, a year from now?
You know, I love goals, but here's the thing that I'm learning from my A Course in Miracles practice is goals are very ambition oriented. And again, it's really important that we have an intention set. Yes, I would love to have, that $50,000 within the first 6 months of my operating my business, whatever that is. That's fantastic. And where I go from there is I say, that's fantastic. But this is the but. If you focus on that and nothing else, and just focus on that, it'll either A, scare the bejesus out of you if you have a poor money making mindset, or B, it's very, I gotta go out there and get it. I gotta sell, sell, sell. I gotta. It's this very ambitious, it's this very taking the bull by the horns type of energy. So instead, what I say to my clients is set yourself an intention and a vision and hold that and bring it close and keep that secret close to your heart, whatever it is. And then I often say, give it up, surrender it. It's like an open rice bowl because oftentimes maybe you're limiting the potential for what's going to happen if you're just focusing on that 50,000 or whatever it is. But it's like there's this energy of pushing, pushing, pushing that comes with that. And that's stressful and that's not a lot of fun. So if you hold it and you say, okay, universe, this is what I feel in my heart is what would be fantastic for my life. And if I could serve this many people, which is going to represent this much money, this, dear universe, is what I want to really contribute in this world. It's amazing how when you show up every day in congruency to your vision, how it really just comes to happen without you having to work and push so hard. So it's much more like music rather than putting that, the pedal to the metal and having to drive it so hard. And I know there's a lot of business coaches out there, and I'm not poo-pooing them because I think goals are important. But I'm not sure that intention of coming from the places I've got to fill my calendar, I've got to fill in my calendar is attractive. I know for me as a therapist, I prefer to work with people who are very open, who are soft, who really care about me as a client. And I think we come more from that space when we do live from that place.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, like, do you think there's some things that we should avoid, like that we're wasting our marketing budget on that doesn't provide us with any kinds of results? Or,
I think that everything done properly, quote unquote, there are millions of marketing techniques. If it's in congruency with what feels right to you, and if you're doing it from the place of service, and if you're doing it along the lines of smart business, so if you are you use the example of pregnancy massage as a niche, right? So you would want to be focusing your flyers for your speaking engagements and all of your speaking engagements on targeting pregnant women. You wouldn't then want to be focusing on iliotibial band contractures for athletes, right? Like some people kind of bounce all over the place. So long as you have a focused marketing plan where you're really speaking to all of those particular group of clients that you're attracted to working with, you really can't go wrong.
what kind of like coaching we should avoid? Like I've seen some coaches offer like 2 days, 3 days solutions. I mean, I think it takes a little bit longer than that to get this down, to learn how to market yourself, to learn how to get through some of these hurdles. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm one of those people who paid a lot of money to work with a really high-end coach, and she was a fortune and flew out there and thought it was going to solve my business and that I was going to increase my income by that gazillion percent, and I bought that. And the deal is you will end up with fantastic information, but it is so much that it's overwhelming. And what do we do with it and where do we start? So for me, and maybe for some people that works, but I found out soon after it was so useful. But for me, that type of coaching didn't work. What works for me is I need like a 6-month plan or a year plan. I need somebody to hold my hand because questions come up. Questions come up, obstacles come up, emotions come up. And a business is a forever thing. It's not just a 3-day plan. Things can change. You need to really look and evaluate what you're doing and the return on investment. So you need to look at that to see if something's working. So that takes time. And as a result of that, my own preference, I wouldn't tell anybody else what to do, but my own preference and what I do with my own clients is, a minimum of 6 months coaching plan. Because it does take that long. And as you and I talked about, sometimes we know the principles, but we don't really cellularly understand them. And business can get very confusing. So to have somebody partner with you, to mentor you, to coach you, to lead you is handy for a long period of time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for a long time, I think I didn't understand business. Period. I really didn't understand how it works, and um, but now I'm starting to wrap my head around it.
Hmm.
That it's like I avoided it,
Yeah.
totally avoided it. Had no idea of how to market myself, how to have a niche market, how to become an expert. Or branding yourself, or just like I see it with even with personal trainers,
Yeah.
and even with massage therapy. Some people make $20,000 a year, and others make millions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so what's the difference? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
how they've made themselves. It's almost like when you look at Starbucks, they're not selling coffee, they're selling a meeting place. Or if you look at certain items out there, like car companies, they're selling luxury. And so what are you selling?
That's right. Yeah. Or the experience. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be with you, like, why would one personal train, if there's like 1,000 personal trainer in your town, like, why would you pick this one, right?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, can you tell us how we can reach you and how people can get in touch with you to get these coaching sessions and to either help them grow the existing business that they have?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for asking. So, the way that they can get in touch with me is through my website. The website is www.healerswhoprosper.com. There's the first place that they can really get to know me is probably through my blog, which is on there as well. I've written tons of articles on how to be an expert, how to fill your speaking engagements, what's important about a niche, all like even emotional things like what do you do when you really don't feel like working on your business. So the blog is the first place to start. If you really enjoy some of those articles and find them of value, you can sign up for my report, which is the 8 ways to become a healer who prospers. And so there's the steps in there of how I actually walk through with my clients. And that's another way that you can get to know me, is through just looking at the steps. And you don't even have to hire me. If you went and you got that free report today, you would have the steps of what you need to do without my help. Now, if you want to go a little bit further, then you can get in touch with me. And there's the best way to do that is through Jackie at healerswhoprosper.com. And we will just set up a time to meet, and that's about 20 minutes. And we'll, talk a little bit about what your obstacles are, where it is that you want to go, and why you feel like you need one-to-one help. So those are the three best ways to really get to know me and to check me out and find me.
Are you doing any speaking engagements or any plans for helping more students that are actually going to school or need help with
Um,
this?
Absolutely. I'm just setting up my schedule right now with what that's going to look like for the spring/summer. Yeah, nothing on the horizon that's booked in. That's just all being done right now.
Well, I hope to see you in Toronto.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Invite me out and get 15 of your friends and I'll be out there.
Oh my goodness, all the massage schools for sure.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. It would be so my pleasure. I love the East. I just love it. I adore the East. Yeah.
Well, thank you for a wonderful interview, Jackie, and I hope we finally end up seeing you out here. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to sharing this with everybody.
Thank you, Irma. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and it's my pleasure, and I'm just so grateful that you found me, and that we can go out there and share all this information. And I think I just want to say one last thing, that it doesn't have to be hard. There's a belief system that I see with a lot of holistic therapists because our minds are just so wrapped up in our practices and our modalities. There's this, oh, it's like, a budget. You say the word budget or saving for the future, and people kind of freak out. It's the same thing with business. And I just want to say that it's not hard. It's as easy peasy lemon squeezy. You just need a few tools and off you go. So, and I want to wish everybody luck.
Well, you know what? I think that a lot of us underestimate what we're actually capable of doing
Yes.
or dreaming big, like even if you were a chef, some chefs work for, little diners and others are celebrity chefs. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
you need to have confidence that, there's so much, I think, like I said, with personal trainers or even massage therapists, don't underestimate what you're capable of doing, from writing books to having a TV show to
To
just
even
working with
saying
them.
out loud that you
Yeah,
are an expert, that in itself, it's cause and effect. If you really have convinced, and if you are like so convinced and see the possibility in that, just seeing that possibility and being 100% convinced with nothing else,
yeah.
you, there is no way that you can fail. No way. There's no way.
I believe you, and I encourage everybody to have big, big, big dreams and not to be afraid to step outside of where they're at right now.
Oh, thank you. I think that's terrific.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good rest of your day, and we'll keep in touch.
Thanks, Irma. I appreciate the phone call.
Thank you.
Okay, all the best to you.